one, example of the good reason to illustrate your result. For example, 39 slide. Here you show that from the baseline. Okay, this is a very simple one. The baseline. And under the lax emission policy imposed in China, and Vietnam will be the only one country that benefits from it.
In the long run.
Yeah, in the long run. Is there any good reason to explain about this? Is that because of it's the new country opened economy, after the war, and so it's increasing rapidly in some kind of activities. So Vietnam is kind of a Thai people always say, be careful of Vietnam. Is that a good reason to explain that? And that's one thing, you may use 39, including the conclusion from the simulation result of simulation number 2, RSM imposed an emission policy. Here, you also say something. Number 3, simulation number 3, China imposed. So in the third conclusion, you said that in long run, in lax case, Vietnam experienced the top GDP gainer, while Cambodia still suffer more. And then again, for another way, choices in strengthened case, Vietnam faces the lowest drop in GDP, while Cambodia turns to be the top GDP gainer, something like that.
Okay. Thank you for the question. Actually, this time, under the lags of strengthening one, the different thing with the Vietnam and Cambodia in the long run. I would say that in the long run, when China imposed a policy and Vietnam become the top gainer in the long run, not for the short run. As you shall see that the investment in Vietnam play the main role for this time, for the increasing of GDP. So this means that Vietnam have a lot of investment in the long run. The one thing I would like to let you know, this time is this simulation run under the trade pattern of the ASEAN commodity also, and also free trade. So that's why this time Vietnam can have actually to answer this specifically, we have to know the source of investment, like FDI from each country to go to Vietnam, and we will see that what happened to the investment, why it's become bigger significantly. But this time, in this dissertation, we didn't go down to see the FDI information, but we know just only the investment play the main role for Vietnam this time. Even in export, you can see from the export, Vietnam would get better from increasing in capital or agriculture for all of markets like China, non-ASEAN, and ASEAN. And this would contribute to the GDP increasing of Vietnam also.
My general impression that Zoom has shown us a lot of numbers, and I have a feeling that your work is kind of shortage of explanation. You just feel a lot of number. The number is very nice, and you even can say a lot more from the table. But I think for a PhD level, you also need some evidence to support your results. So the case that Ajahn Venu highlights, but also you already highlighted the case of Cambodia and Vietnam is only one case. But overall picture, you also have the other point that you also emphasize, but the case of India, for example. So I just wondering that maybe you have to find some data outside to support. First of all, in the case of Vietnam, what I can tell you is that we cannot use the number in your table to explain the results. Because you have to look at the trade pattern, the structure of trade between China and Vietnam. So Vietnam is among the largest countries to consume and import the low cost and low quality products from China. So given that fact, then we say that if China impose a lax policy, so it means they will invest more in labor intensive industry. So it means that the labor intensive, I'm a bit confused that the labor intensive industry will be, product will be less. So in that case that less of that kind of product will go to Vietnam. And maybe in that scenario, Vietnam can develop its own industry by putting more investment. Then in that case, investment will increase and GDP will increase. That might be the case. But what about the case of China, India, and also you mentioned Singapore and Korea in your table. You can say a lot about this because it just not simply put it's for a nice table. We should pick up the point because Singapore and Korea is another level of study. So how and they all Singapore is also in ASEAN and South Korea is outside ASEAN. So what will be the difference? Is there any different impacts on these two countries? And what about the case of India compared to those two cases? So this is my general feeling, but if you look at specific cases,
yes, thank you, Tom. It seems to me that India is kind of free rider, for this situation. They would be happy for all kind of scenario that you pick it up. So I mean, outside ASEAN, right? And then it suffer for someone here amongst ASEAN. So it might be not enough, to draw the conclusion yet. You might have to study and add some extra issue in order to make, because this is trade, right? So when you do trade, from our experience, to erect, this basically corridor is certain. When you have trade, everything moves, and then it will be kind of sensitive, so in this case, Vietnam is sensitive, but India is not always gain the benefit. So I think it might be not necessary to include in this study, but you need to do the illustration, and some background to understand this.
Okay, let me answer to this because I think the same points. The thing is, because this dissertation has spent a lot of time, spending the time with the data and the model, right? In order to trying to get the data and sourcing, all this. So it's a lot of time consuming. It's spending it's
so there's no work here.
But in any case, we can looking at this, mostly. The thing is, you can get a lot, and we can see that, at least, one or two papers already, right? You can draw it from the results. So, but you need more in-depth study. It means that it is lack of literature reviews, right? In terms of the, but for me, I wrote it down here that it would be more realistic, for this model to have some kind of a timeline, of the regulations or laws or even agreements, right? The big picture of the international trade, something like that, and อนุสัญญาเนี่ยนะ something like that, so you know that okay, after developing
protocol.
Yes, protocol. So that would help in a sense, rather than that you playing with numbers, right? And people cannot really relate into
No, we can, but so what? I mean,
Yeah.
my question is so what? A lot of things nice here, but why?
And then come out of all these questions, I was just waiting for my turn to ask, as about, to come out from this program. Can you tell us, probably a couple of sentences, what you have learned from this, and what would be your career path out of it?
In the future.
The chair asking for the overall question, so this is my main question. So what would be your career path come out of this dissertation?
Like the main implication from
That you
this
get from
yourself.
your
You gain the benefit from this study.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we, the community, saw a lot of things that you can do it in the near future because a lot of spaces and rooms, and what you call issues, a lot. So it's good. I mean, it's a good one, but we need something more in detail.
Okay. First of all, I know this is because this is some kind of wide length of dissertation because we study even in trade or emission or for our sector also. So there are lots of gap that we need to fill it up. As you said, that's why we need to study about like the history of the trade of each country to fill up that kind of the gap. And also, in order to improve the career from this dissertation, I think, in my opinion, I could specialize in the future to do like international trade with emission policy, like let me think about. Okay. First of all, if each country would care about the cost of imposing emission, and this dissertation can prove either benefit or cost. For the benefit, I just do the simple way of benefit transfer, just for the one kind of emission. The benefit can represent a huge benefits. This is larger than the cost. So that's why this can prove that if you would like to impose the policy, you would gain the benefit a lot from reducing illness or mortalities of the people in your country from this time. And if you do the policy, and which one would be better for you, even in short run and long run? Because to do the policy, we cannot do just a short run, because short run cannot prove anything about in the future that you will be keen or not. But this time can show you that in the long run you can gain benefit for sure from the policy, that if you, especially in the stringent case, because normally they would, I don't want to do the stringent because at the first period of time of implementation, they would suffer from the policy a lot, and that's why that this dissertation would tell them that even in the short run, you suffer, but in the long run you can gain much more than just do the lax policy. And that's why this one can prove that, like a two-stage game. When you do this game to impose the policy, first of all, you would decide your mind that you would like to impose the policy or not. And the benefit will show you that, okay, you could do the policy because the benefit would larger than the cost a lot. And the second stage, if you do the policy, which one is better for you? And the stringent one that the proof is good, better than the lax one. So that's why you can come up with a stringent one. stringent policy imposed in your country. And for my career path, I can tell every ASEAN or even researcher or anybody that to do so, I have to be expert in the trade pattern in each country, especially China and ASEAN. And also, we have to look after. We have to take care of the like pH pollution haven hypothesis problem among countries before you go into the ASEAN communities. And this one can prove that if you didn't do this, this problem would happen in this region. And also, I think okay. And in my career path, this one run under the dynamic idea, and this approach would benefit for us to see what happens in the future. And this would, I think, to go in this career, I think I have to be specialized in to predict what happens in the future if ASEAN go to the ASEAN community with enforcing emission policy. Because CTE model, I know it's not the best for everybody, but I think is this one of the a few tools that can tell you what happened because we take care for every agent, because it's general equilibrium, we have to take care for customer, for government, for producer. And this is the one, I think this is a good tool, one of the good tools that can tell and take care for every issue and can tell what happened in the future with a dynamic approach. And I think I could go this way, like an expert in CTA and intertrade with the emission policy.
Just very small related question, Ajahn Chuku's question. So what is your originality and contribution in this issue? Because frankly, I'm not an environmental economist, so I do not know much about this area. But you can tell us what is your
contribution of this as a term. Yeah. The main thing, the main contribution, I think I can prove that ASEAN should take care emission problem in the future more. And for example, they should take care about pollution hypothesis, haven hypothesis. As you know, if we go to the ASEAN community before imposing this, before making a standard of the emission among these regions, they would have a problem in the country, for example, like low-income countries, because the standard quite low there. So they would specialize in dirty products, and emission would grow up significantly in that countries. I group them to know this problem going to happen if you didn't do anything about this kind of issues. And also, as you know, if ASEAN do, but China, if ASEAN didn't take care of this for now, but China going to do this for sure, I know, because they have a lot of problem there. So I think they're going to impose a policy now. So as you see that if China see this implication, see this result, they would go to the stringent case. And what happened to the ASEAN? ASEAN would have a problem suddenly because when China do the stringent, ASEAN would get a higher of emission. In the meantime, the GDP lower. So this is problem. So that's why ASEAN, when China do the policy, ASEAN, the strategy for ASEAN should do the policy as the same as in China. I will prove that both of them will get better for the strengthened one.
The reason I ask because when I just scan through your literature review and it seems that you are the first to do the detail dynamic, the detail about someone way before the thesis.
Yeah.
When you are the first
For
to
the
do that.
dynamic one.
Can you claim that?
So you should specify.
Oh, really?
As I told you, for the baseline case, the one that do this already would be Petri, Kramer, and Sai. This guy actually the friend of my Professor Reynolds already. So there is no reason to do the same for just calculate what happened when asking go to the AEC, something like that, because a field of study do that. So I go further, more than that. When they do the AEC and they impose the emission policy as they claim in the blueprint of a society and cultural blueprint, that they're going to do the standard policy of emission. Actually, they know that they have to do this, but they didn't know, they didn't have information to support this idea. And I showed them that, oh, your idea is okay. I proved that if you do this, the problem of pollution happen would reduce in one country. But I do furthermore, but because I do not only just in ASEAN, I do for China also, and we see that China have a serious problem there. So they do that, they do for sure for the policy. Because if China do that, and what happened to ASEAN also, if we didn't do anything, and now when we have this result, we can prove that when China do that, we have to do the same emission policy in order to reduce the problem of pollution happening.
So this has been Jim's problem since the last proposal, right? You actually know a lot more than you have been written. See, and so that's why rationale is something that need to be added on here. See, and your last answer to Dr. Tam's question has to be written on your policy recommendation.
That's your
And the last,
point.
and the first two questions that we have been asked supposed to be in your future, like how do you call that, like some kind of future study or something like that, or recommendation. That what we're supposed to put it on, not other micro detail or it's kind of out of the box. So it's not in your study, right? I know that you're nice, like you put Dr. Reynolds, work into it, but
you don't have to mention about mine. Mine is there.
It's in the wrong place. Like you can put it as in your background, and okay, this will create some kind of health problem, and because trade can create health problems,
consequences.
Consequences into the trade world, the free trade world, something like that. So that's something that I think has to be improved.
You still have time, right? You still. How about your scholarship? Do you have to go back and teach?
Finish as we, this is effect of ASEAN also. Because as ASEAN have to open the semester in August.
So you still have time then? Okay, good for you.
So but the thing is, like 30 days, 45 days of improvement. So like you cannot enjoy your Songkran. Right? So spend time on
But you understand that, right? So you just put it in there to make it sound.
Make it more presenting.
It's more presenting.
The paper that you need to correct.
Okay. Any questions on the floor? The question that I have here is about the explanation of everything. You know that that this is, well, I'm the user of GTAB as well, and even though it's not the dynamic one, but I know that it gives you the vast variety of results here, a lot of numbers. So to be there, to graduate from the PhD program, you just be asked to train to give explanation for those numbers.
Yeah.
Because anyone can use GTAB and get the number,
Yeah.
but not everyone can explain it.
Explain.
Okay, so it is the big questions that I have for the moment, and this is the big part that you need to add in your presentation. I also have some detailed questions as well to add up with this thing. Is there anyone that have the questions about something else? You want
Yeah,
to
we will go.
Okay. Like something that, well, since I've been trained as a trade economist, but not the environmental economist, so the one thing I was wondering about is that about the lax and stringent policy that you were talking about. First, are they the policy that impose only on the industrial, or you think about the policy that imposing on trade as well?
Okay. In this moment, the policy would impose on the production sectors
Okay.
only.
Okay.
And in this time, I pick up for 3 sectors. These 3 sectors is the main polluting sectors, such as agriculture, because as you know, ASEAN was good at agriculture, and capital intensive manufacturing, and transportation and communication. Why these 3? Because as I showed you, the sector analysis show that for all of indicators, like carbon dioxide, non-carbon dioxide, and greenhouse gas, non-greenhouse gas, all of them would be contributed from these 3 sectors. So that's why I just pick 3 sectors to impose the policy in this moment. Because I know I cannot impose policy for all of sectors, right? Because it might make a difficult situation in that country.
So just to be careful and try to be clarified in your paper that this is for the production sector, not for trade, because if you impose it on trade, this would be classified as the non-tariff barrier.
Yeah.
And it will have some effect on the free trade that you would try to make it as a base case. So, right? That question and your answer will lead to the next question. Okay?
Yeah.
That when I look into your result, I've seen that you the result from the CMOE, the low income countries, okay, has been negative for the short run.
Yeah.
And in the long run, some of them getting to be positive or getting better.
When they do the policy in ASEAN or ASEAN and China together?
In most of the cases, I have seen the picture.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So it made me doubt that since you said that the emission policy is supposed to have a lot of impact on the capital intensive sector, is that right? Because those are the ones that release a lot of pollutions.
Yeah.
So if the results turn out to be that in the low-income countries they have the negative impact in the short run, is it means that those countries release a lot of pollution? That's why they have that much impact on them. Because it made me wonder that those countries should be the labor-intensive producer, right? Which are supposed to have less impact than those of them who has the capital intensive. So you might look into that result as well. Is it because of the trade, or is it because of, well, there is something wrong in the data? Because we all know that those countries are supposed to be labor intensive producers, and if the impact should be intuitively should be that they're supposed to take less impact, less negative impact at the moment, and it might be more negative impact in the long run. Because, well, if you say that the pollution can be passed on from the big producer like China or some other industrial countries into those low-income countries because they don't have the policy yet, something like that. Right. So the direction here is quite
confusing.
Right. It's counterintuitive.
Okay. Actually, for now, in my opinion, I think the low-income country will have effects for both of them, as you said, that
Right.
one from the trade, another one from the policy. For example, from the trade, for the policy, actually this is direct effect for sure, as you know already, because it would have an effect on the sector that they impose the policy, like Laos and Cambodia would have mainly production in agriculture, and agriculture would be one of the sector that they impose the policy. That's why they would suffer from the policy. But why they suffer more? Because if China do the same, and one thing they export in China in labor product, as I said, when China going to improve labor product export, and they would reduce the export from, they would reduce the import from low-income country like Cambodia and Laos would reduce the labor intensive, and that's why they would suffer from this for this situation also.
They reduce the labor intensive.
Because China compete them
To replace.
Replace like for non-ASEAN country, China export more, and that's why.
Low price, low cost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why the low-income country cannot export to that countries also.
So those such explanation is something that you should really, that is the
Yeah.
thing that
Thank
we
you.
are talking
Thank
about
you.
the big picture, right?
That's an implication.
Those are the implications.
And can you say something a little bit
Sure.
related to when you say like country, some country is like labor intensive producer or something like that, or capital, in other words. You have to be careful when you need to be specified when you talk about the industry, because for example like electricity, electronic industry, including the automobile industry. In Thailand and some other poor country that the pollution haven, we just got some part of the product that the mother company sent from, for example, like Japan, or America. They sent some chips and some part of that, in order to assembly here in Thailand. So we suffer, amongst the low-cost labor, from my experience, because they do not, they do not transfer they do not do the technology transfer for the labor, the cheap labor. So they just sit and then work for that for all day long, and then some volatile compounds apply to benzene or some to even something like that, air pollution that harm the labor, our labor, the cheap labor. So they cause them the health impact, health consequences. Some of them died at the Lampoon, industrial estate almost 20 years ago that I studied from electronic industry. And again, for the last 10 years I studied automobile industry. So in that industry, the process will be harmful for the labor when they do the spray. Even though they put it in the big room, but also still they have to change the chip for in the morning, just 3 hours. They will stay there and then coming out and then change to the new set of them, because they know that if they stay longer, they will be harmful. And when we ask for the lab for health lab, the company deny not cooperate with us in order to get the information. So the problem is when you say something about pollution or production, you have to more specific in some particular process. In each particular industrial type, this is one thing that we have to be careful, because when you read my paper, I say specific words in that article. Thank you.
Okay, there are a couple of more points. Yeah, I would like to point out. Like when you talk about the better strategies or better policies, okay, you need to be careful a little bit, because when you calculate the cost effectiveness ratio here, first thing is that for the gains that you say that this is a gain, you use the amount of pollution reduced. Is that right? Yeah. Tons, right? Yeah. In million tons. The point is, when you do that, you combine all of the pollutions that you list in here into one chunk, into one pie, right?
Yeah.
But each of these things, do you think they have the same impact or the same cost to the society?
Of course
Or
not.
not?
No.
That is the whole point, because when you combine everything, it means that each one of them cause the same problem. Is that right? And cause and put in the same burden to society. But actually, I cannot answer that question. You're supposed to know how to answer that, because each one of these things is supposed to cause something differently.
Yeah.
Right? And like you said in the Indian case, that when ASEAN and China impose all this policy, India getting better in terms of GDP. Well, it's also getting better in terms of they release more pollution as well.
Yeah,
as a result.
that's
Is that
right.
right? Do you concern or combine all those results from everywhere, that eventually the pollution release might be the same? It just pass on from China and ASEAN to India.
Yeah, I know. So
Yeah.
those are the things that you might need to mention and try to be clarified
Yeah. Thank you for
in
the
your process.
Yeah. Actually, as I would say that it's quite. I know that point, but because it's gaining in GDP. But how about emission? I know it's going to be improved in that. But to compute, to calculate every emission in every region in this country would be difficult for me. So I would scope in this dissertation that we would concentrate on just only China and ASEAN, because I have to calculate emission for every sector and combine them to compare them, everything.
Right. Yeah, my point is not for you to calculate everything from every region, but to explain and take into account. Okay. Of those effects. Like in case of GDP as well, you said that the loss would be the GDP reductions. But you haven't talked about the cost of changing the technology of production into the one that is environmental safe or something like that, right? I think that is the big chunk, of course, for the individual company as well in that industry, that when you impose a policy, they have to change the technology, maybe from the capital intensive to labor intensive, something like that, right? Which, of course, you cannot get that from GTAP as well, from GTAP for sure.
Yeah.
But we might have to be able to mention something about those, maybe in the limitations or somewhere, because that might be the big chunk of cost that the country has to bear as well. this might be a little bit more in details, but when you report the result, I a little bit worried about the scale, because you are, like in the best case, right? You report it in the million of US dollars, but most of the time when I myself dealing with the CG model, the result is supposed to come out in the percentage change from the baseline, right? Because the problem can occur, like from your result here, for the base case, it predicted that for Thailand, right, in 2015, the GDP is supposed to be come out like roughly about 2.6 million dollars, millions of what is it, 2.6 millions of dollars, right?
Million.
Right. But if you convert it into Taiwan, it's about roughly about 80 million dollars, which means that we passed that point already. That happened in 2007. What I try to mention here is that since the scale that you are based on here is a scale from 2007, that is the database conducted, right?
Yeah.
So the prediction on the level of those things, of these things in your result, like consumption, like GDP, they might be a little bit misleading because the baseline has been changed since the data has been produced. So you might need to be careful about this result as well.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, actually, this table, I will concern that also. I think it will be difficult for you to understand that because the base database, the database of this is in 2007.
Yes.
So when you see the number from the Xinjiang, it would compare with the 2007 years old.
Right.
But so that's why I present this table to compare with the baseline. For simulation 2, 3, 4, I compare the GDP with the baseline instead of because the baseline compared with the 2007 also.
Right, but this is the result that you said that this is the...
Except for the base case, because I didn't have the baseline,
Right, let's say that this is a thought, okay, that if you put the result as a percentage change, you can put that percentage change on any baseline.
Yeah, that's
right?
really better for percentage change.
There's some thought that if you want to think about that a little bit, it might make your result a little bit clearer like this. Okay, and the rest of this would be something like of a smaller points. Like I don't know how. Well, since the result that you show us here, sometimes it is just a small change. So I don't know how big it is in terms of like environmental concern or something like that. So those might be something to think of.
What kind of number that you can say this is a big
Right.
or a small problem.
Right. Okay. Do you have anything else for him?
Like a lot of details, that I think you you can work it on by looking, through the paper that you give, right? Some qualification, and some grammar problems, something like that. So it's okay, so you, and, I put like a small point in terms of, you put the scope and delimitation together, so you need to clarify that as your separate. It's something like that, so that's in the first chapter. But the main point of chapter 1 is theoretical framework, which is, I think, the most important part.
Right.
It seems like here in page 18, it's, exactly the same as page 44, right? So what's the significant difference between these two pages? Because for me, if you put it into the methodology, right? It's in the methodology.
Okay, one is in methodology, one
Yeah,
is in the first chapter.
Yeah, and one in the first chapter. For the first chapter, I think if you're gonna say that, okay, this need to be put it on. If you put it here, there's some more explanation that need to be clarified, because this is your work, right? Not what
Peter.
So, and even though you said that you modified already, so I think it is theoretical framework, right? But it's not, I would say, comprehend in terms of this is the work of this dissertation. For example, the words like flags and stringent policies need to be added on into this framework, for example. Okay, so people would looking into this framework and say that, oh, they understand the whole thing that you're going to do, right? Not the method, okay, not the method or not a step of the work, but the this going to be okay if your work is just based on this, but it's more, right? It's more into this. So and this is your work, so you need to clarify it. So I don't think I can draw it for you and put on this box, this need to be crossed out, this to be added in, something like that. Okay? So after thought on this.
Let me see.
Just the point that when you add the module that's talking about environmental problem pollution is natural GitHub. I still didn't see any connections between the main GitHub and the part that you added. Are you calculating, simulating the result here and then put it on the another sections, or is it combined together or something like that? It's not quite clear in the explanation in your methodology.
Actually, accuracy data cannot tell about emission because they need to take care of the emission. So that's why I have to take every result outside the data and calculate by hand outside.
Okay, that is the part that you need to explain.
In the step of the methodology is
You can add more there. Make it clear.
And for chapter 2, just a small point again, but the big part would be, I wrote it here that you need more quantitative models or backgrounds of theory that support the analysis, on trade and environmental issues. President Renu has mentioned that, and also the work in chapter 3, right? It needs to move, to move somehow to not a methodology, not your own methodology, right? But someone else, so it has to be in the literature review. Because, but if you do the short paper, right? For submitting,
Yeah.
it's
It's
okay,
okay.
but not
here.
not here in the dissertation. So when I wrote it down, then I did here, what's the significantly different, of the one in figure 3.11 for the circular form of the CD, but it I already told you that it is okay for this one, but you have to move it to chapter 2. But anyhow, the one from chapter 1 needs to be changed. Yeah. So, chapter 4, I think.
Here, chapter 4 is so many points that you need to like adjust a little bit, like somehow they don't present the unit of what you say is there or something like that.
Be careful what you do.
Yes.
Like when you say about the export import change, you don't say about the year. Because what you say that they are just changing in 2015, and you have a long run, right? 15 to 30. But when you talk about import export, you don't say about
the year.
yeah. So this is the short run or long run.
Something in my mind is short run and long run. Who defines this? You did it by yourself, or it's standardized, or what? Because if your colleague here, your friends, would like to do something similar to this, they might come to ask you, how do you know that 15 years is long enough, for example? And then when you say like short run period of time, what does it mean? A year, or 2 years, or 5 years, or a month, or 6 months?
This is suggestion.
Make it clear, no, you
Make
don't
clear
have
the definition.
Yeah,
In chapter 3,
chapter 3.
and then just the same content, as the need more in-depth explanation in some of the numbers, so you have to just scan through. And then chapter 5, I already talked about that in terms of policy recommendations and also future study that you need to
Take something out.
rewrite.
PM 2.5, don't put it there. Because we do not study it. Remember? You have PM 2.5, you mentioned about that in your chapter 5, but you do not study it, so no, do not study it. It's out of your scope of study. Is there any comments from Professor Reno? A lot.
Good.
No surprise.
No surprise. Is there anything that something in common with
But
us?
one thing that's very common to you is, I can say that it's the same as you said, like the implication from your number that I said.
Yeah, of course.
You do
Do
just
it more. Okay,
don't
good.
say what you did, but say what is the meaning, something like that.
Right.
Jim, how long have you have been, No, here. You have your work here. And is there any deadline for you to go south for your,
Yeah, thank you for that.
teaching?
For teaching, it would be like August.
Okay, so it's good. So I would suggest you that take your time. Do not go and inform that you are now back to teach. No, don't stay here and then try to keep like 4 or 5 months more. It's a great period for you. Yeah, to make it, polish it and then make it complete. And enjoy your life too. You don't have to be hurry and then jump back to Patani, or to Yeah.
And one thing, because Dr. Deal is nice enough, like saying, the sometimes it's over. It's, you know, like we are caught into, you know, your presentation as well, which is a good thing. But the thing is, you need to practice more because when you go to present, because we're going to present this paper in Penang in September. So when you when you presenting, when they say 10 minutes, 10 minutes,
It's 10.
15 minutes, it's 15 minutes, it's no longer than that. So, and you know,
And people are mean to
and
you.
you spend like 5 minutes
Yeah.
or more on the introduction already, see, and so it's something that you need to
เป็นชั้นหน่อย
keep in mind. Okay?
Try to do all the core information from
Yeah.
the study.
And also it's
So if you, for example, if you won't have time to spend on the whole scenario,
No.
right? Probably you're just saying that what's the difference between them, right? And then going to your big conclusion.
Try to pick the
and-
common points
Yeah.
from every each and every scenario.
Yes.
Try to compare them. and
Yeah.
Pick the different point. Just main difference of those things.
But I hope that your advisor should help you, you know. This is for the very first play for you, right? You will be the right you just only the first one for you. So no worry, you know. Let's
They will
hope.
stand behind me.
I don't think so. I can remember when people went to London with us, you know. Yeah. And her professor, I mean, Ajahn Chibulas was there too, you know. And we were sitting somewhere there.
As the audience.
An audience, yeah. So, you still have time, but I mean, keep it on. Okay, and good luck. I mean, ก็ยังมีนะเขาต้องให้เด็กบอกก่อน
It's just a small, very
Yeah,
small
so
thing.
they-
It's not a question, but it just help me to understand. Because I still look at the ratio in the case of China. The difference between lakhs and trillions is very small.
Very
Like
small.
Yeah,
only
yeah.
one point out of 1,000, right?
Just
So,
information, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, so I just wondering, because that is your own calculation from the result of the test. Do you have any kind of
This is the same question as Professor Reynolds also.
Yeah, because I'm the
It's quite
case
small.
Yeah.
of China, and I would not do the stringent policy for sure,
Right,
because
right.
it's,
Totally agree.
More digit.
Because we look at the ratios already, so the ratio is quite very small difference. But if we see the number, the amount of number, there's a great difference.
Different.
Maybe
Yeah.
less stringent.
Yeah, so
no, I mean, but it's just 1 out of 1,000. So, so it's still small in terms of percentage. It's
Yeah.
small.
sometimes we think that it's not quite different from each other.
Yeah.
It's significant, or do you have any way to test whether it's meaningful?
Yeah. Use, you know,
You might say 10
different
million,
means
but 10
testing.
million from a trillion is very small.
Yeah,
anyway.
very small. Yeah. Yeah, me too. Yeah. Think
Just
over about that.
curious.
Think over about that.
Yeah.
We can do the percent
Explanation.
of that again.
Mm.
Yeah, okay.